Hey everyone! As our text states, the discussion about interpersonal patterns almost always seems to refer to negative patterns. And while they certainly existed in Tynesha's case, I was able to identify some other patterns included by Carl Tom that would be useful for therapy as well. So let's dig in. Tynesha's frustration with the shortcomings of her significant other were glaring. The persistent problem of his walking in and out on her and the kids, as well as his failure to contribute at all to the household, definitely suggests a pathologizing interpersonal pattern or patterns are at play. It could solely be one vicious cycle of distancing and pursuing. However, I noticed some codependent maladaptive patterns, especially of being enabled and enabling, and possibly being the victim and victimizing, which seemed to be at work as well. Because the client reports a marked change in her school and work performance as a result of her partner's actions, I would also say that a power differential exists as well with her man in the higher position, ironically, given the great influence Tynesha clearly grants him over her emotional well-being and functioning. Hearing from him, however, would be ideal before making that conclusion, as we can't discount that Tynesha holds the power, as she is the sole provider of the home and has a lot going for her professionally. Although she understandably is complaining about this lack of support or provision, she confesses a desire still for him to have a relationship with the kids. This contradiction, as well as her past successes, both educationally and occupationally, that she admits to, provides us a glimpse into some possible healing interpersonal patterns, which have great potential for the therapist looking to facilitate some change. The client's strong relationships with some supportive and very honest friends proves she's also involved and familiar with some wellness interpersonal patterns. And the act of seeking counseling alone, her confession from the onset that things need to change, as well as statements throughout such as she needs something, she knows she can do better, and almost flunking not being an accurate representation of her, does reveal some promising transformational interpersonal patterns already in the works as well. She clearly struggles with deteriorating patterns like self-deprecation. From the get-go, she said she wasn't even sure if we'd be interested in hearing her story. And she's undoubtedly been impacted by some unique sociocultural patterns as well, given the harsh realities of her upbringing. Either way, I believe there's plenty of hope for her and for clients like her. To explain how Tom's interpersonal concepts could benefit the counseling relationship, I'll now address Tynesha directly. Thank you so much for coming in today, Tynesha, and for sharing so vulnerably. You definitely are carrying a lot on your shoulders, and I am just so grateful for this opportunity to carry some of that burden alongside of you. In an effort to explain to you what I'm observing and to give you an idea of where I think we should head in our sessions together, I'd like to introduce you to a concept of interpersonal patterns. It's a very fancy term that basically means dynamic. Every relationships have dynamics, some more healthy than others. And these dynamics are made up of these complementary behaviors which work together in such a way to create a continuous cycle that can either be damaging or life-giving to our connections with others. A great example of an unhealthy but very common interpersonal pattern would be that between a nagging wife and her withdrawing husband. Let's say the husband never takes care of the kids, so the wife is constantly nagging him, take care of the kids. The husband just wants to get the heck out of Dodge because he's tired of listening to his wife nag, so he goes out more and more with his friends, thereby spending less and less time with the kids, thereby feeding into his wife's desire to nag him. While this may not necessarily be what's going on with you and your relationship, problematic patterns, we like to use the fancy term pathologizing interpersonal patterns, are definitely in play. And I feel that you would greatly benefit from just having an awareness of them. Once we identify what these look like for you and your relationships, we can begin working on some positive behaviors to interrupt these vicious cycles that are just tearing you down and begin generating some healing patterns, which over time, I would hope, will give way to some healthy patterns and give you an overall sense of wellness. Because we're human, there will be setbacks, and that is okay. We will probably have to address some dips in the road that might try to discourage the process, such as working on how hard you are on yourself. So we call these dips, I have to get back on track. We call these dips deteriorating interpersonal patterns. Did you catch how I said dips? Anyway, I hope I am never the initiator of these, even unintentionally. But you and I do have significantly different backgrounds, and our beliefs and values and our society on a whole is going to color the way that we interact with each other and the way that we interact with those around us. So while I look forward to learning all I can from such a strong and interesting woman, please don't ever hesitate to communicate any concerns or frustrations with something I might say or that I might not get right. I'm continuously a work in progress too. My heart will always be aimed, though, at knowing and comforting yours. So I know that was a lot, but again, I'm always ready and willing to answer any and all questions you'll have right now and along the way. Thank you so much for trusting me, and I look forward to our journey together. Thank you.